Good evening, everyone, to the F1 2018 AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PC Season 16 and Round Number 3, the Chinese Grand Prix. My name is Thompson, and joining me in the commentary box for tonight's race is Aladar. Good evening to you, good sir.
Good evening to you, Thompson. Once again, of course, very glad to be here, and very much looking forward to China, actually, which I think is usually one of the tracks that gives us the best racing on the calendar, so very much looking forward to that.
Absolutely, and this is one of the tracks where the weather likes to throw a curveball on top of as well. So it's going to be interesting to see whether some rain will occur during the weekend or not. And yeah, that usually really shakes up the grid as well. So we'll have to wait and see how the drivers have prepared for potentially very varying conditions.
I think I'd be very surprised if a lot of them weren't secretly hoping, or maybe not so secretly hoping, for rain, in fact, because as we know on this game, there is a two-step difference in the compounds of the tyres which are available to you in qualifying in China, and a lot of people really don't want to have to start the race on those ultra-soft tyres, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're secretly hoping for a wet qualifying at least.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been quite a bit of discussion going on in the forums and the Discord chat between the drivers on whether they really want to use the ultra softs or not. The faster drivers will probably try and qualify on the harder compound in order to not have to use it in the race. But as I said, in case we have a wet qualifying, I think everybody will be relieved that they don't have to run with that ultra soft tire. So we'll have a look at the track very shortly.
This week we're on board with the Ferrari of Evo from the Xbox F1 League as he navigates a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Starting his lap now on the rundown toward a very high-speed, swooping double right-hander of turns 1 and 2. Not an easy overtaking location, but we do expect to see some side-by-side action at these corners during the races this week. Try to open up turn 3 as much as possible in order to get the best run through turn 4 and inevitably turn 5 and into the very likely overtaking location at the hairpin of turn 6. Evo will be braking right around the 100-meter board and all the way down to second gear for the entrance and apex before popping back up into third gear for the exit in order to minimize wheel spin. Up through the gears on the short run down to my favorite part of the track with a high-speed left and then a slightly lower speed right, dropping from 7th down to 5th and hugging the inside of the corner as much as possible in order to open up the double left-handers of 9 and 10. 10 is a bit more open than 9, so carry that speed on to the medium length straight and down toward the heavy braking zone of turn 11, and also the DRS detection line at the entrance of turn 12, which along with turn 13 make up the most important corners on the circuit due to the extremely long straight that follows them. Understeer can be your biggest enemy coming out of these increasing radius corners, and proximity to the car in front will have a huge effect on your ability to overtake into the super heavy braking zone of turn 14. Well over 330 kph with the DRS open, Evo now spots his braking point just before the 100-meter board and slams on the brakes, downshifting all the way to second gear once again, but holding it for a bit of the exit before climbing back up through the gears towards the tricky final corner. Stab of the brakes and 2 downshifts are enough to get the car through the corner cleanly, and then it's a short sprint to the line, and that's a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit.
And welcome back, as qualifying has just begun. 18 minutes of fast laps are ahead of us, and it looks like we have 17 drivers here today. 2 of them are reserve drivers, which is Duppy and in the Red Bull, and Wave in the Haas, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see how the new guys, the reserve drivers, how they will fare in competition with the very fast drivers we do have in this split.
Absolutely, yeah, and it looks like Muller is going to be the first one out onto the track, and he's actually out there on the medium tyres, which is the hardest of the 3 options available to the drivers in this race. So that's interesting that that's what he's gone for rather than the soft tyre. That's very interesting indeed. Looks like the majority are still sticking with the ultra softs at the moment, although I'm seeing more now switching on to the mediums, and then more on the mediums than on the soft tyres, which to me is a surprise.
Yeah, at the moment we have JSR on the Renault, Muller obviously in the Haas. Corny in the Mercedes, that is, and I think Lemon and Wave actually. Those are all on the medium tyres. I'm gonna guess they're not gonna try and qualifying on those tyres. They're just gonna try to get a feel for the current track grip and conditions, and then maybe go out on on softs or on ultra softs later on in the session when the track grip has increased. At the moment, IE Pony and Posters in the Force India, that is, they have gone out on soft tyres.
Yeah, indeed, and I think the soft tyres I would have thought would be more the tyre of choice if you can pull it off, certainly, because really the Ultrasofts will be eaten up so quickly by this track, which is of course one of the worst tracks in terms of tyre wear on the calendar, and the Ultrasofts very not durable tyres. So really, I think there's a massive advantage to be had if you can manage to get yourself up into the top 10 on these soft tyres or even the mediums.
Absolutely. We can see Enigma has just joined the session, so I think he's probably not going to be able to qualify, but that means he will be able to start the race. I don't know what the reason for him being late is, that is. But yeah, we have the first few people, including Miller, with a bit of a slide there, coming out of I think turn 4, that is. You have started their flying laps, and it's going to be interesting to see what times they set for their first round here at the Shanghai International Circuit.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at Muller, once again having some audio issues, so once again I apologise for that. Hopefully it isn't too awfully loud as he comes through right now up towards turn 9 and 10, a very tricky double left-hander here. You have to try and get the power down as quickly as possible midway through the corner, but it's very easy to spin out on the exit of turn 10. Muller has managed to keep it together though as he comes now to the all-important turns 12 and 13, because these corners especially important due to the fact that they have such a long straight after them. You really want to make sure you maximize your exit on to that main back straight that we have here at China. 1.2 kilometers, I believe, is the number.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say probably even the longest straight in the calendar. Not the longest full throttle section of the calendar, but definitely the it's a very long way down that straight, that's for sure, and it's going to be an interesting overtaking opportunity in the race. As Muller now crosses the line with 1:32.8, that's a pretty slow time at the moment. Wave also on the medium with a 1:32.7, and that is Hayden on the ultra softs with a 1:31.0. Ram only with a 1:31.8, so big gap at the moment, but obviously there's 4 compounds between those tires. As we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, that is. Yeah, the times that have been set at the moment, so Ian now goes into the 30s with 30.6, are not terribly fast at the moment. I would expect that people end up being in the 29s if they choose to qualify on the Ultrasofts. Duppy now the reserve driver with 1:30.4. So the times are dropping slowly. I mean, we still have 30 minutes left in the session. Is 1.5 minutes more at the moment than we had last season in the whole qualifying session. So people still have enough time to improve their laps, of course.
Yeah, they do have enough time to improve, and I can only assume we're going to see the track coming towards the drivers and giving them a lot more pace potential out there, because these lap times, as you said, really are quite slow, to be honest, especially considering what the drivers thought they would be able to do. Some of them thought they were going to get into the 128s, and at the moment, none of them are even close to getting into the 129s. Tom97HD, he's one of the ones who's been hotly tipped by the paddock to challenge for pole. Muller, of course, always up there. Tom does have the fastest time of all of them in the time trials around this circuit, so be interesting to see whether he can make up for his not being able to attend last race and the disconnect he had, the unfortunate disconnect he had out there back in Australia. At the moment, he's only come across the line doing a 1:31.8 down in 4th place.
Enigma again has left the session, so I don't know if he has issues or not. Let's hope he can tend at the race. Just having a look at the moment, Assassin and Kellen are both on their first flying laps. As Assassin now breaks into the hairpin, going a bit wide here, nearly going onto the curb, which you don't really want to do because it really hampers your traction. Now around the last corner, it's 4th gear fast left-hander, opened the DRS up to the line, and he's going to set a 1:31.4, which puts him provisional P5 ahead of Tom97. And we did talk about the tyre wear previously and how terrible it is on the ultra soft tyres on this track. And just to give you some information, Assassin did a good job of not getting too much tyre wear on his outlap and trying to go fast without killing the tyres, and he ended up with 6% tyre wear at the end of his flying lap. And Hayden, actually, who currently sits in P4, when he pulled into the pits after his first flying lap, he already had 10% tyre wear on those ultra soft tyres after only doing one flying lap. So that shows you how fast these tyres degrade, and we're probably going to see everybody on who has to start on ultra soft stop somewhere between lap 4 and probably latest would be lap 6. So those tyres are not going to last very long at all. And as we can see by the medium tyre times by IMWave and JSR, they're also quite a bit off pace. So if you want to start an ultra soft tyre, or if you start an ultra soft tyre, obviously you can kind of do a one stop on the mediums. It's a stretch, to be fair. But first you will have tyres that degrade super fast, and then you have the mediums on which are super slow. So the tyre you really want to be on is the soft tyre.
Absolutely, yeah. And speaking of the medium tyre, though, Muller has managed to get himself up into 7th. He set a 2nd flying lap after doing a cool-off lap between his 2 flying laps and managed to get up into the 1:31s. But again, that's the sort of time I was expecting to be some way off the bottom come the end of the session. So this is really interesting. Obviously, he improved by a very significant amount between those 2 flying laps, so perhaps there is a lot of improvement we're about to see as they come out for their 2nd, and then even more when they come out for their 3rd flying laps towards the end of the session. I certainly hope so, because I was looking forward to having some slightly faster times than these. Kalon at the moment, I think he is not on a push lap. He's charged his battery back up all the way, but I think judging by his red flashing fuel light, he'll probably be coming into the pits rather than setting another flying lap on those soft tyres. Anyone out there on a flying lap that you noticed in particular?
Yeah, well, Kalon at least has 0.2 laps of fuel at the moment. I think Ramdrop should be on a flying lap, which he is, yes. He's just come into the first couple of corners here, the snail section, which it's called. It's a really long, double, nearly triple right-hander that then really slows down into a very slow left-hand hairpin before you try and open up the corner and try to get the power down until you get here into I think turn 6, that is, as Ramdrop has a bit of a lock up there coming into the corner. And then you're already in the middle sector, which has this fast left and right hander, and then a slow to mid speed double left as Ramdrop drives into here right now, and then a small bit of back straight before actually you come into the slow crucial part. That is this left-right hander here. You really need to get a good exit out of here onto the long straight, and then you're already on the backhand of the lap, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And this hasn't looked to me like a particularly good lap coming out of Ramdrop here. He's been missing quite a lot of apexes, especially at turn 6. Did not even come close to troubling that apex. We'll see how he manages it down towards turn 14 here, the major hairpin at the end of the big straight. And once again, he runs pretty deep there, deeper than I would have thought would be optimal, certainly, as he comes towards the last corner. And actually, no, he's completely bailed out of that lap, so evidently it was not good enough, and he's just gone straight back into the pits.
Yeah, that was definitely not a good lap from him. I'm just having a look. Duppy is going for another flying lap here. Again, on the ultra soft tyres. Currently sitting P2, so that is a decent showing from the new driver so far. And I just got a message from Enigma in the chat, by the way. He said he disconnected in the middle of the loading screen, so yeah, he won't be able to take part in quali, which is unfortunate. But again, we still hope that he'll have no problems in the race. Obviously, he'll have to start from the back, but yeah, at least if you can take part, you have a chance to do something about it. And Duppy now with the new fastest lap with a 1:30.1 on those ultra soft tyres. Again, I was expecting to see 29s here, so there might be some room for improvement. Definitely, we have seen, I think Tom was the one with the fastest time trial time with, I think, even a 1:28.8, but obviously grip and engine conditions in time trial are a lot better than they are in an actual qualifying session. So yeah, well, I guess we're going to see a 29 coming towards the end of the session.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Julian might be the one to bring us back down into the 29s as we see him coming up towards the long right-hander on towards the back straight now. Seems to have had a pretty decent exit there, pretty in the middle of the road, not threatening to go off on the exit, and that this looks like a decent run for Julian. Haven't really caught that much of the rest of the lap, so I can't tell you exactly how well this lap is looking. He's still got some battery saved up. He'll be coming into the heavy braking zone here, and that's much nicer. He clips the apex lovely there, actually. Good stuff from him, especially in comparison to what we saw out of Ram Drop on his lap. As he comes across now into the final corner, cuts that nicely but not too much, and stays to the right across the line. He gets into the 129s, but again, only just.
Yeah, but can I say I called it? So yeah, that is the first 29 time of the night. Obviously, we have a few drivers that could drive times like that as well, like Tom, who does improve. He did have a few mistakes on that lap, so it's only a 31.2, quite a bit off there on those tires. So he'll definitely have to go again and try, but like people like Muller, if they really wanted to and went out on the ultra soft tires, I'm gonna say they could definitely beat that time from Julian. But yeah, it depends on what tire they want to start, obviously. Assassin is on a 131.4 at the moment, the fastest on I think he qualified on soft tires, as he's now coming into the pits. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy and how the lap times pan out. Pony, by the way, on his out lap, he hasn't set a time yet, so he is on the soft tires, so it looks like he might only do that one run and try to qualify on the soft tires in the top 10, if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. IE Pony was actually one of the ones I was looking out for to get a decent time in this qualifying session. He is the fourth fastest of these drivers in the time trials. Ian, by the way, who is the second fastest of them, has just managed to put himself... he stayed in third, but he got very close to Duppy's time. Duppy, a new face, and looking pretty strong actually so far. The two Red Bulls at the top, although one is a reserve, so doesn't count towards the team total, but it's still good for the Bulls nonetheless, especially with Julian on provisional pole. Costas Delphin, interestingly ahead of Tom 97 HD at the moment as it stands, both having set lap times on the ultra soft tyres, so that is interesting. I'm surprised to see that, certainly based on what we've seen out of Tom 97 compared to Costas so far, and especially considering Tom, as we said, the fastest of anyone in the time trials. However, not panning out that way for him at the moment, not the star-studded qualifying session he might have been hoping for. Ram Drop right now, I've been on board with him for this lap as he's coming down the back straight. We'll see if he manages to get this hairpin turn 14 a bit better than last time. He does, much neater, cutting the inside very well. Gets a decent traction there. Looks to have a little bit of a slide, but not too bad. Coming through the final corner now. Doesn't run too wide on exit. Will keep it over to the right just as Julian did, and he goes up into 6th place on the soft tyres. Moves himself ahead of Tom 97, who set his time on the ultra softs.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. I think apart from him, Corny is one of the guys that at the moment is on a fast lap. He's on the soft tires as well, so he will try and improve his time to get into the top 10 and start on this set of tires. He's coming around the last corner now, opens the DRS, shortest way to the line. It's 131.6, which puts him ninth at the moment. So not quite ideal, but obviously those tires are 2 compounds harder, and obviously 2 two compounds less grippy, so it's difficult to challenge the ultra soft runners, that is for sure. But Ramdrop did a pretty good job on his lap, to be fair. He's the fastest of the soft runners, and he's currently in P6, so he might be pretty content with that.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was Ramdrop and I was starting from P6 on soft tyres and everyone else ahead of me was starting on the ultra soft tyres, I would be very happy, and I think he would be sitting pretty to actually challenge for the win in this race. Of course, we did see him come second out there in Australia, didn't make it to the Bahrain Grand Prix, so he did say that wasn't going to be such a good race for him anyway, but we have seen a lot of potential from that ex-F1 driver in the first race of the season, so I look forward, based on this qualifying so far, to see what he can do here. IE Pony coming around the final corner now, setting his first lap times. He comes across the line, and it's 9th, so he goes ahead of Corny, but only just. Still behind AOR Assassin, and only just into the top 10, so it only just matters for him at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, Muller's in an interesting position, because obviously his fast lap on the soft tyres didn't put him in the top 10, so the question is, does he really want to improve? If he does, it's probably only going to be on the softs. He could improve a lot on the ultras, I'm very sure of that, but in case someone has to start in P11 because they didn't magic, obviously they still get free tyre choice, so P11 is probably still better than P7 on ultra softs, for example, but at the moment he's on a set of soft tyres, and I think he's on an out lap. It might actually even be a fast lap, to be fair. He has got a bit of fuel on in more than 2 laps at the moment, but he has just set his ERS down, so he's on an out lap at the moment, and he'll try to set another quick lap on soft tyres if he can improve. If he can't, he has free tyre choice anyways.
I'm just going to see if anyone else is on a push lap at the moment. Julian might well be, but he's towards the beginning of his lap right now. Ian looks like he's pushing hard, coming across the line. Has he just set a lap, or no? He's just about to go at the beginning of his lap, so we'll leave him to do that. Tom97 HD, interestingly, he's come back out on the soft tyres, so he clearly believes that he's going to be able to improve on that time he set on the ultra softs. He's going to get a better time on the soft tyres, otherwise he wouldn't have bothered going back out on those soft tyres. So that's interesting to see if he is able to do that after all. IE Pony has retired, and so has Corny. Those two drivers not going to be setting any faster lap times. Both comfortably, well, not comfortably, both slightly in the top 10 right now on the soft tyres, and they'll be hoping that it stays that way, but I would be surprised if it did. Ramdrop just moved himself up into 5th place, ahead of Postas Delphin, improves his time still on the soft tyres, although he has now set 2 flying laps on that very same set of soft tyres, so that slightly negates the freshness that they would have had at the start of the race.
Yeah, Lemon pretty much off track there, by the way, in turn 1, so I think he's just trying to get out of the way, to be fair. Yep. Just having a look who has a low percentage of ERS, to be fair. That is I'm Wave, who's coming now around the last corner. He's on a set of soft tyres. That was really close, by the way, to leaving the track, and he improves to P9, so into the top 10 for the new driver.
On board with Muller, and as Julian goes across the line, and that's a much more like it. That's the sort of time we were expecting, a 129.3. He's really pulled it out the bag there. That is a massive gap down to 2nd place. We'll see if anyone's able to challenge that. Muller, interestingly, coming into what I believe is turn 11, was held up slightly by Postas Delphin's retired car, so that's really quite unfortunate for Muller. He might not set the sort of lap time he's hoping for. Kalon only manages 13th on a set of ultra softs. Ian goes up into 2nd on his ultra softs, but still nowhere near Julian. Muller up into the top 8, just in the top 10 right now on the soft tyres, so he's made that work. An identical time to RR Assassin, actually.
Yeah, and Hayden, Duppy, and Ian still are on fast laps, it seems. And they will try and... sorry, Ian has just crossed the line. So Duppy and Hayden there at the top are still trying to set fast lap. Ramdrop won't set a faster time. I'm Wave also crossed the line. Is he still going for another lap? Doesn't look like it. Muller raging about Postas in the group chat.
I did catch that moment.
Quite hard there. Duppy retired and Ian didn't improve his position. So at the moment, I think it's just I'm Wave driving, and I think he might be on an in lap actually, which he is. So looks like qualifying completed actually.
Absolutely, and I think the one who will be, I think the Renault drivers are the two who will be absolutely happiest with this, along with Julian, because he was 5 tenths or 4.5 tenths clear of anyone else out there in front. So that's a very good performance from the Red Bull driver on the ultra soft tyres. Skatey is one who will be incredibly disappointed down in 17th. He's been our Mr. Consistent so far. It has only been 2 races, but he has managed, I think, a 4th place and a 5th place, unless I'm very much mistaken. So starting down in 17th will not help his consistency streak if he wants to continue it.
Yeah, that is correct. Skatey with his consistent driving, he hasn't been on the podium in the previous 2 races, but he has been consistent in the top 5. So at the moment he's actually level on points with Corny in 2nd place. But yeah, this qualifying really hasn't gone his way, that is for sure. And yeah, as Iron Wave now has crossed the line, the qualifying session comes to a close, and we'll have a look at the grid once the game has actually loaded for me.
Yeah, just waiting for everyone to pass through there. Just had to wait for Iron Wave to come across the line, and here we go, there you go.
Yeah, so we have Julian on pole position with that great time with 129.3. That I think I said in pre-stream, I said I'd go with 129.4. So that was pretty close guess, to be fair. Ian also in the 29s with 29.8. And then the rest on the ultra soft tires drivers looked like they were really struggling for grip and wear, really. Probably tires really falling up. Ramdrop doing a good job in P5, being the top soft runner here on the grid.
And Skatey a full 2.8 seconds off of Julian's pole time on the same tires. So that is not a good performance from the Ferrari driver at all. They'll be hoping to improve on that one, certainly. Just waiting for all the players to get in right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as we're waiting for the grid, I just wanted to take the time to say hello to everyone who is watching. A good attendance tonight, so great to have you here. And yeah, we're just waiting for the drivers now to get ready. Last setup changes, fuel load changes. Setup wise, I think they're only allowed to do front wing brake bias, differential stuff like that. Yeah. So it's very restricted, obviously due to Parc Fermé, but obviously you want to get your race strategy and your race fuel load correct. So people are readying up now, and then we're gonna get underway with the race very shortly. I'm just having a look. Is Enigma on the list? Yes, he is. So he has made it into the race, but he'll have to start from the back. But he might not actually be in his Ferrari, but in another car. But we'll have to wait and see as we come to the lights on the grid. As the formation lap here starts now, and Julian really laying some rubber there on his grid position as he starts the formation lap, which is interesting. So yeah, everybody forming in now, and yeah, Enigma got a Mercedes. Irony of all cars, he got put in a Mercedes being a Ferrari driver. But yeah, we'll have to bear in mind that Enigma is in a Ferrari usually. But yeah, having those issues, the game chose a car for him. So he's in the Ferrari now, and he has to start, obviously, at the back of the grid. But it's good to have him here, and just for information, he's starting on the soft tyres. So having a look, we have Julian, Ian, Duppy, and Hayden, the first 4 cars who start on ultra softs. And then Posters and Assassin in P6 and 8. Ramdrop, JSR in P5 and 7, and then the positions 9 and 10, that's Bullet and Lemon, starting on soft tyres. Tom, the first driver with free tyre choice in P11, will start on mediums.
Sorry, just interestingly, Duffy has spun out there, and I think he must have actually made a bit of contact with Julian, as both of the Red Bulls have been disqualified from the formation lap, so that will just hinder their tyre warming, and in case they were trying to get that in the perfect zone. It looks like everyone's doing a lot of work regarding tyre warming, so that could be damaging for them, especially off the line. Ian might be looking to take advantage of that, perhaps.
Yeah, that might really hurt them. Just to complete the list for you guys. So we have IE Pony, Kellen, and Adidas Tracksuit starting on mediums as well. I'm Wave, Corny, Skatey, and Enigma in P18. They will start on the soft tires. And just for information, how bad tire wear really is around this track. Duppy has managed to only gain 8% on his ultra softs, but Posters already has 20% of tire wear before this race has even started. So that is definitely something we'll have to keep in mind. So Posters was 20 and Hayden with 15%. They will have to come into the pits very, very quickly. Their tires will probably have no pace after lap 1.
How is Julian's tyres looking? Just a quick question.
They're at 10%, so
10%,
he's done a
okay.
reasonably good job to keep his tyres alive, as now Skatey and Enigma, the two Ferrari drivers, one hidden away in a Mercedes car, now come to the back of the grid to line up for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix here, round number 3 of season 16 of the AOR Hype Energy F3 leagues. As the lights now come on, we have 4 red lights. And the lights out, and the race is underway. It looks like Ian and Julian actually both got a very good start, but Ian will have the inside now. He's on the inside. Oh, and Julian really aggressively cuts across there, but that is a really long right hand, and the Williams still on the inside. They're side by side. There was a bit of tyre contact here, and it looks like one of the Red Bulls has actually lagged out a bit.
Yeah, that's Julian.
Yep, that is Julian. So he actually got overtaken by Ian here, and now Duppy, his teammate, is up his inside now, coming into the hard braking zone. They're still going side by side. There's a lot of shuffling here in the back as Postus moves past Hayden here for P4. And Muller drops back down to 9th as he battles side by side with JSR as well. Duppy has made it past Julian finally after they were side by side for the whole of the middle sector. And yeah, after first half lap, it looks like Ian now will be comfortably in the lead. Duppy 2nd, Julian 3rd, and Postus in 4th.
Absolutely, yeah. Not the best start for the 2 Renault drivers starting up there in the top 10 on their soft tyres. Looks like the Ultrasofts really did give you a bit of a kick off the line as RR Assassin and Postas Delphin both up 2 places each. Ramdrop looks like he's going to have a run, and Postas Delphin's already spun out, and Hayden's had to run wide onto the back straight to avoid him. I don't quite know exactly what happened to Postas there, but both of the Force India drivers have had calamities on the opening lap as Lim, and we saw him drop down to the back earlier as well. And here comes Ramdrop. He's looking to come up the inside of RR Assassin. Hayden also there on the inside. The Toro Rosso driver holding on to 4th place as Ramdrop sneaks his way past RR Assassin. RR Assassin not fighting that position too hard, and actually might be under pressure from Muller now behind as well. Looks like he's going to be able to stay ahead for now, though, as Duppy comes across the line in the lead. And there's been a change for the lead, and I didn't even notice that Duppy is currently in the lead of the race. He's overtaken Ian.
Yeah, and there's been a few drivers that have issues. So obviously Postus spun out, so now he is already 37% tyre wear, and Corny had to come into the pits due to a damaged front wing. Yeah, but Duppy, a great start of the race for him, and Postus actually out of the race. Did he retire or crash? I can't tell. Corny is in the pits at the moment, so yeah, I can't tell why he has retired, but Assassin actually got past Muller there, and yeah, IE Pony past Skatey here, and Skatey already up in 11th place as I lose my English. So much action happening on track here. We have to remember Skatey started in P17, so he already is up by 6 positions.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good start from Skatey to make up for that subpar qualifying he's had as Ian gets very close to the back of Duppy, and then Julian gets very close to the back of Ian. In turn, these 3, we might well have a 3-wide moment for the lead here coming onto the back straight, but it looks like Ian has had a suboptimal run, and it looks like Julian is going to be the one to take advantage of this, and it looks like we're going to be back to a Red Bull 1-2 here as Ian going to fall into the clutches of his Dutch compatriot in the Red Bull. Julian making up for that little screen freeze, I believe, that had that lag moment for him in the opening lap, which cost him the lead of this race. Julian sneaks up the inside, goes straight past Ian, and he's up into 2nd place. It's now a Red Bull 1-2. Meanwhile, Ramdrop behind has managed to also get past Hayden for 4th place, and it's looking very good for the Renault driver on those soft tyres.
Yeah, and I think Ramdrop might actually be in prime position here, strategy-wise at the moment, because he is on the better race tyre, and he is only a few seconds away from the leaders, and they already have over 30% tyre wear, so they're not going to be on those tyres for all too long, and then Ramdrop will actually take the lead of the race, and will have a good strategy option from there. So it's going to be interesting at how the race plays out. The Ultrasoft runners really had to try and pull away from the soft runners, but now tyre wear is going to kick in, and they probably won't have the pace to do that anymore. So it's all going to play out here in the first half of the lap, and then after that it's probably pretty straightforward for everyone strategy-wise, obviously, unless there's a clash anywhere. But yeah, at the moment, everybody starting on the softs is looking in prime position for a good result today.
Yep, Muller right on the back of our Assassin, actually nudged the back of Assassin, who was all over the place. And once again, Assassin runs very wide, and Muller's going to be able to get a decent run up the inside of turns 12 and 13 here. He's going to be past him before he even gets onto the straight. Good stuff from Muller there, but really the opportunity was given to him by our Assassin, who really had a very scruffy lap indeed. JSR now also looking to capitalize on that, make it 2 positions that our Assassin's lost. But meanwhile, another change for the lead as Julian gets up ahead of Duffy. They're side by side in the traction zone, but it looks like Julian has got the better of his Red Bull temporary teammate here. Julian runs a little bit wide out of the final corner, but is able to stay ahead. Ian falling adrift now of those top 2, and Ramdrop sets the fastest lap of the race on the soft tyres.
Yeah, so after the end of lap 3, we can already see that the soft tire is now definitely faster than the ultra soft, and Ramdrop is only about 2.5 seconds down the road.
Hayden's
was
round.
that Hayden who spun out there? Or sorry, actually ran quite wide and has a huge load of position. As you can see in front of him, there's a quite big pack of cars, and he finds himself now down in P13, 9 positions down from where he started, and that has really hurt his race track position wise, as he's now getting challenged by his teammate Kellen here around the outside, who's on the medium tires. And look, already the medium tires have a lot better grip in the traction zone than the ultra soft. So Hayden already at 56% due to that spin, and he's now again. Spinning. He's spun again, and I think after this, those tires will be absolute toast. I'm going to bet he's going to come into the pits now, because his tires are already at 62% due to those spins. So those tires are shot as he spins round again, actually.
Yeah, okay. So Hayden, not a good lap from him whatsoever. I think that's gone absolutely disastrously for him. He was running up in 5th place before he got a bit too hot into turn 1, had that spin, and it's all compounded from there with spin after spin after spin. Duffy getting very late on the brakes, locking up his front brakes as he gets very close to the back of Julian, but not able to get close enough to make a move right now. Ramdrop is back within DRS range as Julian is the first one to dive into the pits. Let's see what tyres he goes on to.
His tyres were already at 49%, and as we could see, Ramdrop was within 2 seconds of Julian on the straight there, and Muller also closely behind him. So the Ultrasoft tyres, they have now really reached then, and you can see how far back Julian now drops after that pit stop. He actually comes out on P15, which is basically last out of everyone who hadn't had any issues in the race so far. So he is quite a bit down. I'm just going to have a look. He's 22 seconds down from the lead now. Yeah, that Ultrasoft really doesn't do you any well, as Hayden now has retired to the session from the session. Sorry, probably due to him not having any chance of recovering from that terrible lap, which also was down to the incredible tire wear on the Ultrasoft tires.
Another person who's sitting pretty right now is Tom97HD up there in 7th place on those medium tyres. I believe he's the furthest forward of the medium tyre runners, and that is a very good position for him to be in. He's right behind RR Assassin now. There's a little bit of a gap ahead between RR Assassin and JSR, but as soon as Tom97HD is able to dispatch the Sauber driver, he should be able to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, here comes Ramdrop up the inside of Ian. Ian looking a bit scruffy on those really worn Ultrasoft tyres, and Ramdrop is able to get past him nice and easy here. I'd expect Duppy and Ian to be going into the pits. Looks like Tom97HD also making a move into the hairpin. He has managed to dispatch RR Assassin. Adidas Tracksuit also gets past his teammate. Skatey's dropped down to 10th. He's dropped several positions there. Duppy is into the pits, but Ian stays out for another lap, which I cannot fathom.
Yeah, he's opted to stay out another lap, but having a look at his tyres, he's already at 66%, so probably towards the end of the lap he'll be somewhere in the 70s, and that will really be puncture territory. So Ian really stretching out those tyres. I don't know why they're dead slow. I mean, look how far he already has dropped behind Ramdrop. Yeah, that's really not the tyre you want to be on. I understand that you want to stretch the stint if you can, but those tires, they have no grip left in them whatsoever. So it wouldn't be surprising if Ramdrop
he's gone
past him there, and he's gone round there actually, as we were talking about it. And I've said it, it's the wrong decision to have stayed on them. Now they're on 72%.
Absolutely.
And they will be absolutely cooked. He will have no grip whatsoever, and really have to limp back to the pits now if he doesn't want to have another spin there. And as I say, he's gone around again, so that has been absolutely terrible for him. Basically, absolute copy of what happened to Hayden. And yeah, that is his race really done for. From battling for a podium here, he has dropped to the back of the grid.
What a shame. Yeah, it just seems like once you spin out once on these tires and you overheat them by doing so, it seems it's just almost impossible not to make them spin again. It's just like driving on ice for these drivers. And really, Ian, I just think it was a bad decision. JSR's left the session from 3rd position. That's not good news at all. Hopefully he can get back into it, but that looks like it's going to be a disconnect, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's the end of his race. He was in 3rd place in what looked like an excellent race for the Renault boys. Suddenly gets considerably worse as their 3rd place driver, JSR, disconnects from the session. What that will mean is it will promote Tom97HD on those medium tyres up into the podium positions, and that's very good news for him. IE Pony as well going to benefit from that, down in 5th place. AS Tracksuit in 6th, Kalon in 7th, I'm Wave in 8th, Enigma in 9th, and Leman in 10th.
Yeah, Assassin coming into the pits now, as is Ian, and Ian is now on 80% tyre wear, so those tyres are absolutely shot. And just saying, everybody who started on the Ultra Softs, I think, I'm just going to check before I say something wrong, but I think, yeah, none of them is in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
So that was definitely not the tyre you wanted to start on. Ooh. And talking about tyre percentages, we had a view asking how we can see the tyre percentage. I do have a tracking tool actually with telemetry information on the drivers where I can see the exact percentage on the tyres. So we'll provide you with that information throughout the race.
Unfortunately, I do not have access to that information, and so neither does the stream. However, I will ask Thompson if I ever need confirmation of someone's tyre wear status, or indeed their wing damage status as well. And speaking of wing damage, by the way, that's what happened to Skatey. He had to come into the pits on the soft tyres, put on a set of mediums instead. Looks like JSR's actually managed to reconnect to the session, as he's actually making a move here on Kalon at the end of the straight. He's still on these soft tyres right now, and the medium tyres look like they're starting to get the better of him here, as Kalon gets a much nicer run out of that hairpin. 3 cars very close to each other right now, 6th, 7th, and 8th, Kalon, JSR, and I'm Wave. It's going to be interesting into turn 1 as we see 2 cars going side by side in the background, but right now it looks like it's going to be Kalon who gets the better of that one. Going into turn 1, he is able to stay just about ahead, but no, actually, here comes JSR coming right back at him again as Kalon ran wide into turn 1. Turn 3 now, and he's going to have to try and make it work around the outside JSR. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so, but he will be able to stay just about ahead of I'm Wave for now.
Yeah, so JSR lost 4 positions due to that intermittent disconnect, which is unfortunate, but good he is back in the fight. And it is a fight truly between Kalon, JSR, and ImWave here for P6 at the moment. Kalon in front, obviously driving the choo-choo chain on the harder and slower tires at the moment. But if you can keep them behind him, obviously his tires will really come into play for him. As we can see, ImWave there with quite a slide there coming out of the corner. Yeah, obviously Kalon will have the advantage as the laps progress, but at the moment it seems like the soft tyres just have that little bit of an edge over the medium tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. I was maybe jumping the gun a bit there when I suggested that the medium tyres were getting the better of the soft tyres, but right now Tom97HD and IE Pony are making those medium tyres work as they come down towards the hairpin here, and Tom had to go defensive, and he's run very deep there, and he's lost out to the Williams driver. He is going to move himself up into 3rd place now. IE Pony now makes himself the leading driver on the medium tyres. One thing to note regarding tyres is the fact that Julian, when he came into the pits, actually put on a set of soft tyres, so he's definitely going to be two-stopping this race and has recently set the fastest lap of the race last time out. Right now he's just going past Leeman as well as he comes across the line. Didn't set a fastest lap this time, but he was stuck for the majority of that lap behind Enigma and Leeman. He has managed to get himself past them for now. JSR right behind Kalon as well, as they're going side by side once again, and it's a carbon copy of what we saw last time out, as the Renault driver is forced wide and won't be able to make it work around the outside. Just can't quite find the same traction as the Toro Rosso driver, but he is going to be able to challenge here into turn 6. Kalon's going to look to try and make a cutback work here, and he is going to get the better traction, but I would be surprised if he's able to hang on around the outside here, and it looks like the Renault driver finally has made it back up into 6th.
Yeah, that was definitely a very good overtaking maneuver and good racing from both of those drivers. But now Kalon, I mean, he has lost that position now, but now again he still has to watch his rearview mirrors, because now it's ImWave, the new reserve driver in the Haas car, that is right behind him and trying to shape up a move against the Toro Rosso here, coming onto the on the fast straight. Obviously Kalon looks like he's going to be close enough to get DRS So at least he has that advantage at the moment. But I'm gonna say JSR will pull away, and then Kellen won't have DRS, and Iron Wave obviously will keep it. And then it's going to be more and more difficult for Kellen to stay ahead. You can see Iron Wave has seen or observed what we observed, and JSR actually with a slide there. I don't know if there was
contact.
Yeah, Kellen actually ran into the back there and has front wing damage now. Opts to stay out at the moment. You can see he's really fighting the understeer and has really lost out now and is in P8 as Iron Wave now going to the outside there as JSR is going defensive into turn 1. Can Iron Wave make that move stick down on the outside on the long right hand? There was a bit of tire contact there, but at the moment JSR can stay ahead of Iron Wave, but it looks like Iron Wave was really on the march here against JSR. They're pretty much equal on tires, so it is a fair fight, fair and square here to be fair. But yeah, at the moment JSR in the Renault can hold on to that P6 position.
Yeah, impressive driving from him to be able to hold on. Kalon, he'll be kicking himself there, just got way too hot on the brakes, coming into the hairpin and smashed into the back of JSR. Julian now making the move past his sister teammate on those much fresher soft tyres. Julian has been setting some very good lap times. He's been making decent progress throughout the field, but you still have to note that he is still so far behind the likes of Ramdrop and Muller out there at the front. And one thing to note as well, we should probably pay attention to the fact that Muller quietly has made his way up into second place. I don't think we've had cause to mention him so far, but the driver who has currently won the last 2 races, the opening 2 races of the season, looks in a very good position to at least get another podium finish here.
Yeah, so obviously we have now completed 10 out of 28 laps of the race. So it might be an option for the soft runners to think about coming into the pits for probably their one and only stop.
As you say that, I'm Wave.
Oh yeah, as I say that, Iron Wave is actually the first one to come in. Was this tyre wear that bad? I don't know. Actually, his tyre wear is pretty decent, but it looks like he's trying to do an undercut on the cars around him and gain an advantage there. Because as we can see, the soft tyres are now slowly beginning to be slower than the medium tyres. That was a lot of slow in that sentence. But yeah, he's now put on a fresh set and he'll definitely be quicker. Skatey actually now is the first one to get a 3-second time penalty due to track limits. And that is the first penalty for him and for anyone on the grid. But at the moment, I mean, Skatey's in P15 anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference for him at the moment.
Yeah, it just compounds what was already a bad race weekend here for Skatey. Poor qualifying, decent start to the race, but then he lost his front wing and had to pit way too early on the soft tyres. I'll be very surprised if he can take those mediums to the end. He might just about be able to, but it will be very touch and go. Speaking of mediums, it looks like IE Pony of the medium running cars has the pace on Tom 97 HD and Adidas tracksuit here, as he's got past Tom 97 a couple of laps ago and has actually gapped him all the way up to about 3 seconds now. Lehman and Kellon, meanwhile, going side by side. Lehman actually getting the better of the exit onto the main straight. Kellon must have had a bit of a squirrely moment on towards the exit of turn 13. He is able to just about stick ahead of Enigma, though.
Yeah, Kellen is still fighting with understeer due to his slightly knocked front wing as Lemon actually comes into the pits now, as do Ramdrop and JSR and actually Enigma as well, so quite a bit of pit stops going on here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play out, where our previous leader rejoins, and that will be P7 just behind Kellen, and he should come get past that Toro Rosso pretty easily, considering he has fresher tyres and no front wing damage, which Kellen obviously will have to deal with until his next stop. But I mean, he's still in P6, so he's holding on quite reasonably at the moment.
Yeah, and I think the thing we have to watch there is he's come out of the pits 7 seconds behind Julian, who is currently his main contender for the lead of the race, because Muller, who was on the same strategy, did not look like he was going to be challenging Ramdrop. He wasn't really getting very close to him at all. So the fact that he's only about 7.5 seconds behind Julian, rather, as he loses time behind the Toro Rosso driver, he needs to get past him as quick as possible, because Julian, of course, will be much faster than Ramdrop right at the end of the race again. There might be a period here where Ram, on the fresh medium tyres, might have a bit of a run on Julian, but Julian on the soft tyres, they're not too old, and he still should be getting some decent pace as Kalon gifts it to Ramdrop as he runs wide on the exit of turn 13, and Ramdrop up into 6th place now.
So Müller now coming into the pits as well. He was in P2 before the round of pit stops for the soft and medium runners started, so it's going to be interesting to see where he rejoins on track, whether Ramdrop was able to extend the gap. I think the undercut on this track should be quite significant, so we'll have to wait and see, as actually Müller got held quite a bit there in the pits, it looks, and that's Ramdrop passed again, and Kellen as well, so that will be P7 for Müller at the moment, which should be P2 still after pit stop. So still a pretty good position for Müller, considering he was blocked in qualifying and had to start down the order a little bit.
It's also worth noting that Müller actually managed to overcut Ramdrop by about a second there, because Ramdrop lost so much time stuck behind Kalon on his outlap. So we're going to see if Müller's able to do something about that. Meanwhile, I think I saw Duppy or someone running very wide in turn 6 there, but no, Duppy looks like he's doing alright down in 8th place at the moment. He's on those medium tyres, and I wonder if he's going to be trying to make those medium tyres last to the end of the race. I'd be very surprised if he's able to do it. They're currently 7 laps old, and it just might be because he's had a bit of a tentative pace, especially compared to Julian. He's fallen a considerable way behind his teammate right now. So he's at a bit of a tentative pace, so it wouldn't be surprising to me, at least, if he's actually been saving those tyres, trying to nurse them to make sure he can get to the end.
Yeah, and Kellen fighting that understeer there in the fast right hand, and Müller just absolutely flies past the Toro Rosso there. That was not even close to a fight. That was just like taking candy from a baby, and Müller just absolutely smashed past Kellen. There was nothing he can do about it. I'm going to say Kellen knows that he can't really defend at the moment, as he has a bit of a lock-up coming into the hairpin. So he really just try and not lose too much time until his scheduled pit stop, where he'll probably change his front wing as well. Yeah, didn't want to compromise the strategy here. That's what he opted for. And considering we are closing in on the halfway point of the race, maybe next lap he can start thinking about doing a pit stop. So another 2 laps from here on, obviously, because he has to complete this lap. Yeah, and then you can get a new front wing and see where he ends up. That's definitely going to be interesting. The top 3 runners, i.e. Pony, Tom and Adidas, are also 3 drivers who haven't stopped yet or starting on the medium tyres. They're now closing in on the 50% mark on their tyre wear.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're waiting maybe 2 or 3 more laps before they decide to come into the pits for the soft tyres, and these laps that Kalon's driving right now will be some of his least favourite he's ever driven, because he's clearly losing a lot of time without that front wing, but he's just trying to hold on to it so he doesn't compromise his strategy too much, and he's just seeing everyone flying past him. There's nothing he can do about it, and it must be so demoralising in the cockpit there for the Toro Rosso driver, but he's just got to plug away at it and hope he can maybe get somewhere down towards the bottom points finishes once it all plays out in the end. But he's just praying to see the laps go by so he can get into the pits.
Yeah, that is a big part of driver's psychology when you're in that position. Obviously, after 1, 2 or 3 seconds, so 1 lap basically, as he now gets overtaken by Duppy as well, obviously you'll see how big your pace has dropped how big the pace difference is. Oh, as he smashes into the back of Duppy, he wanted to go into the pits and forgot that the Red Bull obviously has to brake earlier than him.
Oh no.
And, yeah, now he's spun out, and I think he has to do another lap because he's past the pit lane entry now. I wanted to say, usually you have to keep your cool, is what I was about to say before he did not keep his cool, as no, he's just ghosted. Because if you're in that situation where your front wing is only slightly damaged, your car feels terrible. You lose a bit of time, but obviously if you look at the time, do the calculations, and see that obviously what he opted for was the faster way, just to stretch it out until his scheduled pit stop instead of compromising his strategy, which is faster. But lap after lap, you have to remind yourself, I'm doing the faster thing, although it feels slower at the moment. But yeah, that was really unfortunate incident there for Kellen, colliding with Duppy there as he tried to go into the pits. as I had predicted. Yeah, that's just really unfortunate incident, because obviously if you want to stay on the track, you have to brake for the last corner. But if you want to come in the pits, obviously it's just full speed ahead into the pit lane entry before you brake. So yeah, that was really unfortunate coming together, as Postus Delphin has now left the session as well after retiring quite a bit ago. But yeah, that is actually Tom Alias Tracksuit now coming into the pits, and that is yeah, obviously apart from Kenan, the last two drivers to have to do a pit stop.
Yeah, a 5-second stop-go penalty has been earned by Adidas Tracksuit as he sped into the pit lane. I believe Lemon also has one of those. Tom97HD, where will he come out of the pits? He's going to be coming out in around 7th place, I believe. Should be ahead, comfortably ahead of Imwave, and he's ahead of Adidas Tracksuit as well. Corny is the one ahead of him, and he's someone we haven't had much cause to think about throughout this race. On 14-lap old medium tyres, he's going to have to be pitting soon enough, so that position should quickly come the way of Tom and Adidas Tracksuit, as Corny will have to pit in the coming laps. Duppy likely to have to pit as well. Just one thing to note, i.e. Pony having come out of the pit onto the soft tyres, he is at the moment 5 seconds behind Muller and Ramdrop, and he's going to have to be trying to catch up with them, as Kalon has now officially retired from the session. So that's a very unfortunate race for the two Toro Rosso drivers. In the end, we just saw them going for spin after spin after spin, and they've both had to retire from the race.
Yeah, so two drivers that will have to come in very shortly, as I said, are Julian and Corny. Corny, I think he did already do one stop. He had that incident, so his tyre was already pretty decent, let's put it that way. And Julius obviously is on that 2-stop strategy, so is he going to come into the pits now? Yes, he is, to complete his final stop, and then he'll be basically on equal terms with everybody who has stopped on the medium tyres and has gone onto the softs fairly recently. So we'll have to wait and see where he comes out. Corny gets past Tom HD there. Yeah,
Tom completely missed his braking zone into the hairpin there for the second time this race on the inside. Just completely, he had the move done, and he just had to just brake a little bit earlier, and he'd have made that move stick very nicely. Unfortunately, he did not do so. He tried to brake as late as possible, and he's now paying the price for it, as he still can't get past the Mercedes driver into turn 1. Just going to try and keep the outside now and try and force some space around the outside. He's earned it here from the Mercedes driver, who won't be able to run him out too wide, but he has not managed to get around the outside there, but he will get him, I believe, into turn 6 around the outside if he can get me late enough on the brakes once again, and this time he doesn't miss the braking zone. He does it very nicely, and that is an excellent move around the outside from the McLaren driver.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I don't quite get, to be fair. Obviously, Corny being a fairly new driver, I don't know why he's fighting this battle. He has over 50% tyre wear. He's not on the same strategy as Tom. Why? I mean, with that battling, you just compromise your own race. You lose time, and that is one of those things. If you have a real look, I think people like Ramdrop, they wouldn't even bother to try and defend too hard on that, and just try to make the time they lose as small as possible, as little time loss as they can possibly manage while getting overtaken, because it's just not their battle to fight. And you can see Corny, he has lost out quite a few seconds to the leader in comparison, and he's going to come into the pits very soon anyway. So yeah, that's the things I really don't understand, that divide good from great drivers. But yeah, as I've said, Corny now comes into the pits for his final stop in the race, and I'm going to guess he's going to put on a set of soft tyres for the last 11 laps of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. Pony just came across the line and set the fastest lap of the race on those 3-lap-old soft tyres. He's looking to close down the gap to Muller. It's still at about 5 seconds right now, so he's not actually made much of an inroad despite having set that fastest lap. Muller actually setting pretty quick lap times as well, as he's getting closer to the back of Ramdrop, although it has dropped back down to 1.5 seconds. Was it about 1.2 earlier in the lap? So he's getting a little bit closer to the Renault driver. We might just about see a battle for the lead of the race coming towards the very end if he's able to keep that up. Meanwhile, Julian has come out of the pits in 6th place, and he has actually managed to dispatch Adidas Tracksuit, who's on similarly aged soft tyres, and now he's got Tom97HD in his sights, and Julian could well be challenging for a podium position here if he manages to have the sort of pace we've been seeing him throughout the rest of the race. It's going to be quite a way to try and catch up to IE Pony, but he might just about be able to do it if he really gets his foot down.
Yeah, but he has to be flying now, because at the moment he's 10 seconds away from a podium. But yeah, we know Julian can be very quick if he's consistent. So next up would be Tom HD, who is also on the soft tire, so on a similar strategy as Julian. And I'm just having a look at Duppy ahead, might fall into the clutches of those two, because he's been on those medium tires for quite a bit now. They're at 40% at the moment. He might try and stretch them to the end. If he can't do so, he'll have to do another pit stop, which really would be unfortunate and drop him down, probably even out of the points.
I just want to clarify something. I was indeed reading the graphic wrong. Pony has in fact closed down the gap significantly to Muller. I said he was about 5 seconds. It's actually 3.2 seconds. He's currently 5 seconds behind Ramdrop, and he's just set another faster lap of the race. I believe Julian actually came along and trumped that when he came across the line, but Pony is making a significant charge towards Ramdrop and Muller, and he's still got 10 laps remaining, or rather 9 laps remaining now, to try and make that work, and he's really not very far behind at all, so it might be Pony that we're actually seeing challenge for the win of this race.
Yeah, he really has to make use of those soft tires as long as they're still fresh at the moment. He has the pace advantage over Muller and Ramdrop, who are on the medium tires. But obviously, as the race progresses, the medium tires will come into play more and more until the soft tires drop off due to wears. He now sets a new fastest lap. But yeah, it really looks like we could have the possibility of a three-way fight for the lead here coming up towards the end of the race.
Absolutely, yeah, and I would have loved to have seen what JSR was able to do if he hadn't had that unfortunate moment, but right now he's running back down all the way in 9th place. He's right behind Wave though, and he might actually be able to make a move on him this lap, as he is making a move into turn 14 here, and he's got it stopped nicely on the inside, and he is able to get up past the reserve driver driving in the Haas for this race. Adidas Tracksuit getting a 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial coming towards the end of the race, especially if JSR is able to close the gap there. And it looks like Tom97HD, meanwhile, getting past Duppy into turn 1, and Julian looking to capitalize as well and try and get past his temporary teammate here into turn 2. And actually, he's been able to do it because Duppy's run completely wide there, and Julian, as a result of this battling that Tom97HD and Duppy have just had to do, Julian's now right on the back of Tom97HD, and it's very important for Julian if he wants to make a charge towards Pony to get past the McLaren driver, but in actual fact he's run very wide in turn 6 and he's lost a whole chunk of time, and I would say the chances of him getting a podium are now officially out the window.
Yeah, that was a bit of unfortunate there for him. That has definitely compromised his race. Obviously, he can still try and battle with the cars ahead of him. But yeah, I would agree that a podium is pretty much out of sight from now. Also considering Pony's very good pace at the moment. He's slowly closing in to the leaders, although I must say his charge has halted a little bit. He's only been gaining 1 or 2 tenths now per lap, and that's not going to be enough to close that 1.5 gap to Muller ahead, or the 3-second gap to Ramdrop in the lead at the moment. Muller 1.5 seconds behind Ramdrop at the moment, so it's going to be interesting to see whether Muller can get into the DRS window, and that would really open up the battle here, as we have 8 laps remaining, including this one.
One thing I will say now is the way this race has panned out has shown us that the alternate strategy was king. In fact, starting on the medium tyres was probably the best thing you could do. The soft tyre, or the current 1 and 2 in this race did start on these soft tyres, but they started further up the grid than the medium tyre runners were able to. So I think actually the fastest strategy in terms of raw pace was probably starting on the medium tyres, but certainly going for pole and taking that sort of juicy, low-hanging fruit that was running with the Ultra Softs in qualifying and going for that pole position really has not worked out for the likes of Julian and Duppy as well. And Duppy is trying to make that one-stop work still on those medium tyres, but he's going to be having a hell of a time of it coming towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that's just what we said. You can stretch that one stop if you start on ultras, but it's really not fun to do. Oh, sorry, who was that?
Julian going right into the side of Duppy. I don't think he actually lost any front wing, and I thought that was going to be a lot worse than it was, but that Julian really very impatient incredibly frustrated, I imagine, with the mistake he's just made, and really eager to get past as quick as possible so he can try and challenge up for 4th place, because he knows he's got to try and catch up with Tom97HD to maximize his points haul from this race. He's currently sitting at 4th in the championship with 20 points, so he needs to make sure he tries to stay in touch with Muller, who once again is going to have an excellent race here and get a very big points haul. And really, all the drivers have got to do very well at this point already to make sure that Muller just doesn't run away with it.
Yeah, and IE Pony actually took another 7/10 off of Müller, who on his side gained another 3/10 on Randrop. So yeah, might really get a juicy fight here for the lead. So we'll have an eye on that as Corny gets past Assassin here in the 3-way fight here. Oh, 4-way fight actually with Skatey, Enigma, Corny, and Assassin. That is the battle for P11. So best of the rest. Fighting for the golden biscuit here. As there's no points awarded, but those guys are really going to battle it out and have some fun racing here. As Corny now really close to Enigma, who is his pseudo teammate at the moment, because Enigma usually drives in the Ferrari. Nearly brake check Corny there, who really had to slam on the brakes there to not run into the back of Enigma. And Corny now really close here, coming into the next braking zone. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to choose the in or outside. Enigma going defensive here. Oh, Corny really there on the outside, braking onto the curb. Actually had some contact with Enigma there. Lucky didn't get any front wing damage. But at the moment, Enigma holds on to that position, and Skatey hopes that those two will continue to battle so he can pull away. That is for sure.
Over the last lap, we've seen 2 sets of teammates come together, although they have both been pseudo-teammates, as you mentioned, with Julian and Duppy coming together, and now the 2 current Mercedes drivers of Corny and Enigma coming together as well. Enigma does have his actual teammate up ahead as well, so we could see another dimension towards that intra-team conflicts we've been seeing, although it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get up onto the back of Skatey quite yet. Skatey, 16-lap-old medium tyres, though, will really be starting to feel the pain on those tyres.
Yeah, and looks like Corny got a fairly good run here. Always going to open the DRS and has the slipstream here. And Enigma defending to the inside, nearly blocking Corny off. Corny will try and go round the outside. Oh, and that is Enigma crashed out into his actual teammate.
Oh, no.
Skatey here. And Corny goes round the outside of that incident. So we have, in the last 2 laps, we have 3 clashes between teammates. And yeah, you can see... You can see the Ferrari weaving there in frustration, and Assassin now has to come into the pits because he's really lost his front wing out of that incident, as everything blew up just in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely, and that doesn't get much more of a commentator curse than that. I did say we might see another dimension to the intra-team conflicts, and...
definitely jinxed it there.
Yeah, so that's rather unfortunate. I can only extend my apologies to Enigma and Skatey, who are now running down in 12th and 13th. Didn't look like they were going to be challenging for points anyway, though, being currently 10 seconds of gap between where Corny is now and Lemon up in 10th place. So probably didn't lose too much from it in the end, but still, I am very sorry. Meanwhile, we have Adidas Tracksuit up in 7th place. He's right on the back of Duppy. He's been very close to the back of the reserve Red Bull driver for about a lap now, and Duppy on those 17-lap-old medium tyres really isn't going to be able to put up much of a challenge here, as Adidas Tracksuit was already all the way onto the back of them before he got on to the main back straight here, and it looks like it's going to be a nice and simple move for the Sauber driver up the inside. Is he able to get it slowed down? Yes, he is. A bit of a lock up there, and actually brakes a little bit too hard, and actually Duppy forced to go onto the curb on the inside and actually gets himself a 5-second stop-go penalty for extending track limits. That seems a little bit harsh, but right now he's actually fighting back around the outside of the Sauber driver, who really could have been a lot less nice there into the final corner. Was able to give Duppy the space, but really could have given him significantly less and tried to race him a bit harder there, and actually can't make it work into turn 1 either. So this is very frustrating now for the Sauber driver, as he now tries to go for a gap which is only just about there. And just as I was saying, he was being polite with all the other corners, gets a little bit less polite into turn 2. Perhaps a bit of frustration here with Duppy, but it looks like he is finally going to be able to get him into turn 6. Duppy thinks about a move back up the inside, but then thinks better of it.
Yeah, that actually looked like Duppy let Adidas Tracksuit back through, because he was already out of that acceleration traction zone, really. And then really looked like he lifted off, so maybe had the feeling that he wasn't fair in his battle with Adidas Tracksuit, but to be fair, it was good defending and a fight back there from Duppy. We will have to say that, considering his tire wear is considerably higher than tire wear on the Sauber car there. So yeah, definitely a good battle that we saw. And just having a look, I'm Wave is following JSR at the moment, just behind those two. That is the battle for P8 at the moment. I'm Wave will have the DRS now, as we can see JSR going to the inside here, maybe breaking the slipstream if he can. And yeah, I'm Wave is not quite close enough, but to be fair, he was aware of that and turned down his ERSs, as he has quite a bit of lockup here coming into the hairpin. And Enigma and Skatey actually going side by side here down the straight, which is an interesting drag race that has unfolded. Enigma does have the DRS now, and it looks like Skatey's trying to make a move back up the inside. A bit of a lock up here from Enigma, who's on the outside now. He has to go a bit on the curb, but he can hold it at the moment, and he's now on the inside for the next left-hander, trying not to run into his teammate here, as we can see as he locked up. They're still side by side here, going down the straight with incredible battle between the two Ferrari drivers, one who is in the Mercedes, obviously, and he's trying to go around the outside here now, coming into turn one. Obviously, Skatey holding it down the inside here still, but it will turn to the outside now, which is good for Enigma. It's important for him to get the traction now. It looks like at the moment he can get ahead, and yeah, has clinched that P12 position from his teammate Skatey.
Yeah, if Skatey was able to make that work, that would have been incredibly impressive on those 19-lap-old medium tyres. The fact that he was able to fight with Enigma for that long, Enigma also on 13-lap-old medium tyres, so the tyre delta isn't what it could be, but I still think that was incredibly impressive stuff from Skatey to be able to even put up any sort of a fight on tyres that old. Meanwhile, Julian right behind Tom97 HD now. These two are fighting for position, and even if Julian does get past, he has got a 3-second time penalty to contend with, so he's going to have to build up a gap. So if Tom97 HD is able to just keep him behind for another lap, that should be enough to secure him the actual 4th place come the end of the race now. They're a long way behind IE Pony, who isn't really able to catch quite up to the back of Muller as we would hope. But here comes Julian around the outside, trying to go all the way around the outside of turns 1 and 2. Tom97 HD shuts the door nicely. Muller gets himself right under, Julian rather gets himself right under the rear wing of the McLaren driver and will be challenging again into turn 6. Here he goes right to the inside. Tom puts himself in the middle of the road and just looks like Julian didn't think there was enough space on the inside in the end to try and make that maneuver, and will have to settle behind him for this tight and twisty sections of turn 7, 8 and 9.
Yeah, and as we were talking, Enigma got a 3-second time penalty, as does Assassin now. Enigma in the pits again.
Yep, he's going for the fastest lap.
He's going for fastest lap. He has pitted on ultra soft tyres. He's not going to gain any points today anyway, so he might as well try to set a fast lap here. And just having a look at the chart, it looks like the gap has stabilized about 2.5 seconds between the three. So unfortunately not really coming down to that showdown, but what we have at hand is still that battle here. Julian trying to get past Tom HD. They're on the same tyres. They have about the same amount of tyre wear. The only difference is Julian has that 3-second penalty as he tries to go round the outside. They're into the hairpin, try to get the switch back on Tom. He blocked that perfectly and now is still ahead, but now it's the next straight where Julian will be able to open his DRS, which he does now. So is Tom going to try and defend? He stays on the inside, yes. Julian taking the wider entry inside here, but he's not really close enough, and Tom can stay in that P4 position for now.
Tom is doing all the right things here right now because they're 12 seconds behind IE Pony. They have no incentive to even go remotely quickly. There's another 5-second gap back to Adidas Tracksuit, so they don't have to worry about what's coming behind. So Tom can go as slow as he likes and place the car wherever he wants just to make sure the Red Bull driver stays behind him as they bang wheels there coming out of turn 6. And Tom97 really frustrating the young Dutchman behind him here in the Red Bull, not able to get past, and he knows he has to build that gap unless Tom also has a penalty, which I don't believe he does, and Julian may or may not be aware of that, but he'll feel like he has to get ahead and build that 3-second gap regardless, and it just looks like it's not going to happen for him.
Yeah, they're pretty much equal in tyre wear. Julian has a slightly bit more fuel to burn than Tom has, but Julian is struggling with ERS on that matter, so it looks like it's pretty much equal fight we have at hands here. Obviously Julian gets that help with ERS, as he has a big wiggle there on the exit of that smaller snail section here. He can still open that DRS, but that might have cost him just enough to not be slow enough. He has put his ERS to 0 here, although he did still gain quite a bit. So that top speed from Tom is not good, as Julian gets gets under Tom there, but again, Tom having that inside line and really blocking off Julian on the apex there. That's really all Tom can do at the moment. A very hard but respectful battle, I'd like to say, as Julian now goes round the outside, again trying to make a move here in the first couple of corners. Again, a bit of wheel banging here. Tom now blocking the inside for the left-hander. Julian trying to get a wide line and a good exit out of the corner here, as he really goes for that small gap that was on the inside there. Tom just left enough space for him, and Julian just held onto that car. As we're now on the last lap. Tom now breaks himself. Julian now on the inside, nearly pushing him off the track. There was some contact there, but Julian finds himself now on the outside. Can he hold it on the outside to gain the inside from the next corner? No, he can't. Oh, yes, he can actually with that leg braking maneuver, but now he finds him on the outside again. They're really battling it out here on the last lap of the Chinese Grand Prix here on PCF3. Tom really using all of the track now. Julian back down in 5th position now as they come to the long straight now for the last time this race. I mean, the battling is really going here, as Ramdrop actually already coming around the last corner, but definitely we do not want to miss this overtaking maneuver, obviously. But we have to say Ramdrop now coming across the last corner with a good race, good strategy there, and winning the race now, as Julian has actually made his way past Tom 97 HD on the straight. Tom really braking hard, Julian as well. Tom to try and get under Julian here. He's not got much time left as they now approach the final corner, and it looks like Julian can hold on for it now. Tom again running wide, and that is P4.
Oh no! Tom, he got a penalty at the last second because he ran wide. He was going to get that position back, but he got the penalty right at the last second, and he's just lost that place to Julian. That is a clanger of an error there from Tom. He clearly didn't know Julian had the penalty. Oh, yeah, no.
He definitely did not know that. Hadn't he gone wide, obviously Julian's penalty would have put Tom back into P4 on the timing board. But yeah, that really has hurt Tom there, and now he has finished in P5. Good battle though, to be fair. But yeah, as now the rest of the field crosses the line. Wow, that was a battle and a half. That is to be said. Obviously, Adia's tracksuit not really playing any difference due to him having penalties as well. So he can't overtake the two ahead after penalties. As Ian actually moved up on my screen.
Didn't have time to jump on board there.
Yeah, didn't have time to jump on board, but that is the conclusion of the Chinese Grand Prix, and I need a sip of water now.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fascinating final 2 laps that Julian and Tom 97 HD were able to give us. And I'm sure that will have pleased a lot of you guys, who I believe a considerable amount of you are here to see Tom's exploits on track. And that was a masterful display of defensive driving from him, with the exception of that one mistake into turn 6. He was really putting his car in all the right places and frustrating Julian so much, because every time Julian tried to get in one place, the McLaren was there and Julian just couldn't accelerate through the McLaren. Just really good stuff from Tom, and it's such a shame he ruined it at the end there by running wide and just not lifting off. If he'd lifted off, he would have got the position back, but he didn't think, and he tried to keep on the power, and it's just all gone wrong for him at the very end, and that is such a shame.
Yeah, obviously he did not know that Julian had that penalty, and he had to go for it just to be sure that he can finish ahead. But yeah, if you don't have that information and the other drivers can't see it, obviously, you just have to try and get past, and that's what he did. Unfortunately, got that penalty right there at the death of the race, and that put him back into P5. Now we have the results on screen for you. Obviously, a Ramdrop with that solid race there, starting P5 on the soft tyre, so good qualifying for him, and he won the race. Müller finishing in 2nd, so he will definitely hold on to his lead in the championship. IE Pony with another good race, starting from P13, finished on the podium, so good result there from him. Yeah, Julian on the worst strategy, so he dropped down to P4. Still a good result, to be fair. Then we have Tom, Adidas Tracksuit, Ironwave reserve driver, JSR, Duppy our second reserve, and Lemon round up the top 10.
Absolutely, and I just want to say, very good race from Ramdrop, very good race from Muller. They were able to deal with the challenge of IE Pony, and actually IE Pony considerably dropped off the pace right at the end there as his soft tyres went over the edge of the cliff. And I just want to say a big congratulations to Ramdrop and Muller. We didn't give them the airtime they deserved in this race. There was too much action going on elsewhere, but they really did pull it out the bag with another excellent race from those two.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try and get some of the people in for an interview. So let's see, we have Lemon, who's already saying he's ready for an interview, but obviously I would like to have Tom and Julian in, and Ramdrop would be great as well. And there he is. Good evening to you.
Hello.
So, obviously, congratulations on that win. Yeah.
Thank you.
From my perspective, I'd say a solid drive. You were one of the drivers who opted to go on the soft tires. Tell us a bit, what was your strategy going into qualifying? Were you just trying to do that one fast lap on soft, or did you maybe have a backup plan as well?
Well, I don't know if you was watching what I was doing in quali, but I didn't have a lot of time to practice before. So I went out and did a couple of laps on the ultra soft just to get some laps in, and then I went out on the soft. I was never ever going to start on the ultras.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, it did help that you were the top runner on the soft tires, starting in P5. I think the first half of the race probably was a bit more exciting from your perspective than probably the second half. Tell us a bit about it.
The first lap was a bit chaotic. I didn't think there was any room for a force injury up my inside, but he made room, so I lost a little bit of ground. He subsequently spun, and then obviously it was just a case of managing the tyres for the second half of the stint. When I saw Muller push, I pushed myself. If you was watching my onboard, I was literally just controlling my pace to his pace.
Yeah, obviously, good result, that is for sure. Did you feel the pressure from Muller there towards the end? He was only like 1.5 seconds behind you, or did you have the feeling it was a quite controlled kind of lead that you had?
I felt I was in control the whole time, to be honest. He pushed coming out the pit straight away, so I knew he was going to struggle at the end, and that's exactly what happened.
Were you keeping any sort of half an eye on IE Pony's progress behind on the soft tyres, or were you just worried about Muller first and nothing else?
I saw him setting some fast lap times behind, and I thought he might catch us, but then I thought that he pitted probably about lap 14, 15, something around then, so I knew he wouldn't make it to the end, and he would take far too much life out of his tyres catching us.
Fair enough. Well, a very calculated drive and an excellent win, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So next in the commentary box at the moment we have JSR. Good evening to you.
Hello.
Yeah, so we can hear that little sigh. A bit of a mixed race, I'd say, from your perspective. Still a solid race, but you were gone for a bit of the race. Tell us what happened there with your disconnect.
Yeah, basically, I'm not sure now. It might have been maybe like lap 8 or something, just a few laps before the pit stops for the soft and medium. And I was still right on the tail of Muller, and we were kind of closing in on the top gaggle of cars. And yeah, and then cars started to have a lot of red crosses, and then the car actually retired on Ramdrop's car because his car suddenly appeared out of nowhere. I hit it, my wheel fell off, and then by the time I actually rejoined, I dropped down to something like 8th or something, and then I had a bit of a battle with some other people, and it was just trying to recover something from there, really.
So just so that I get that image in my head straight, your wheel fell off of your desk, is that correct?
No. When all the cars started disconnected in front of me, I hit the back of Ramdrop's disconnected car on my screen, and then my front wheel fell off. Not as in my wheel where I'm
alright.
If that had happened, I'm just gonna give up on league racing if that ever happens. just obviously it has it in for me.
Can confirm I was not there.
Yes, I could tell by just just everyone started saying that they'd left the session. It's like, oh good, well this has done brilliantly. There's my chance of a podium gone.
Oh dear.
At least one Renault was on the top 10.
Yeah, it could have been two. I think he lost 4 positions in that period of time from P3 to 7, that is. So, yeah, unfortunate, but a solid race nevertheless, to be fair.
Yeah. I can't believe that a disconnection in the middle of the race still ends up with my best result so far, but...
Yeah, then next up we have Lemon, who has been quite in the commentary box for quite a bit. Good evening to you, Lemon.
Good evening.
Not sounding too content. Obviously, not the best of races today. Tell us a bit about your race from your perspective.
Well, I spun out on lap 1, and then it was the most boring race in my life.
Yeah, there was not much going on in your area of the track. That must be said. It was noticeable, definitely. Was it due to the nature of the track, due to the tire wear that is very high, or are you still trying to adapt racing without the line?
No, I think racing without the line is okay now, but I wasn't doing much practice for this, and my pace was same as the guys ahead and same as the guys behind, so there was no chance to catch up or being catched up. So, yeah.
With regards to the spin you experienced on lap 1, we didn't manage to catch that. Did anything in particular cause it, or just get a bit too hot on attraction zone?
It was my fault, and when I lost the back, I know I'm going to spin, because that fault was pretty common in practice races.
Whereabouts on the track was it, may I ask?
Could you repeat?
Whereabouts on the track did you spin?
After first sequence of corners, on this long left exit.
Okay.
All right. So obviously we have another driver that stood out in the race in the commentary box today, which is Julian. Obviously we would have liked to have Tom as well, but it seems I can't get an answer from to come into the commentary box with us, which is unfortunate. But at least we have Julian there, so good evening to you.
Good evening, guys.
Well, Julian, what race, what a qualifying actually. A very good time there for you. You were actually one of only 2 drivers, I think, in the 29th, which was about where I predicted. Actually, only 15 1,000 off my pole time prediction. So congratulations for you. Was qualifying straightforward for you? Did you plan to run on the ultras?
I didn't know what to do, to be honest, before the race, so I just went the opposite of what most people will do. So that's qualifying on the ultras to get me on the front, but I didn't expect my lap time to be that good, 29.3 or something. So yeah, it turned out in the race that was the wrong decision. I should have gone soft medium, but that's the way it is. Can't change it anymore. Do I need to talk through my race now?
Please do.
Yeah,
sure, you can. Obviously that first stint was probably quite abysmal, wasn't it?
Yeah. At the start, I think I lost a position to my teammate, Duppy, reserve driver, my teammate for this race. Also a good friend of mine, but his connection isn't the best, and he was lagging a little bit for me. Well, a little bit too much for my liking, but I managed to pass him. I pitted on lap 4, went to the softs, and I went pretty nicely on those tires. Pace was pretty nice. And yeah, I had to go to a lot of traffic, which wasn't really optimal, and then I pitted again. And I had again a lot of cars to overtake. I actually got hit by Duppy as well. I don't know if that was lag or not, probably was, but lost a bit of time to Tom, and then managed to catch up again. Fight pretty hard, I think, but it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, we said this this race was a bit of the race of teammates having a bit of a collision here and there, but yeah, you and Duppy were, I think, the first of the teammates to start that round of events. But yeah, that battle there with Tom, especially in the last lap, was really exciting. I think if I wasn't in this kind of rig situation, I'd actually be off my seat on that last lap. That was absolutely incredible. Was it really difficult for you to hold on to that fourth position? Tell us a bit about the battle from your perspective, because that was absolutely mental.
Obviously a lot of bumping, but doesn't matter for me as long as we don't crash. It's fine for me. I did get a little bit frustrated when I was on the outside of turn 5. I think the hairpin in entering sector 2. I don't know what the corner name is or
turn 6.
but
It's just turn 6.
Yeah.
okay. But I got a little bit angry from that because I was pretty much alongside, but then I managed to overtake him on the final lap. So that anger is gone, I think. So
Yeah, we saw it was a considerable squeeze. In general, a very hard fight for that position, to be fair, but clean, which is great to see. It's great when people can fight like that, and obviously that's a big thing here. We have in the AOR leagues, everyone is so close in pace, and a lot of very great races here. So we see these very good battles, and yeah, how it turned out, obviously, I would have loved to have Tom in here as well for the interview, because he would have been in 4th position. He actually got that penalty on the last corner, on the last lap when he ran wide.
oh dang, that's lovely to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, so I guess you weren't aware of that, actually, but yeah, if you just would have settled for that 5th position and just drove normally through the last corner, he would have gotten you in penalties. So that really played out absolutely crazy until the last 200 meters of the race.
Yeah, when you're in the race, you don't really think about that. You are not. You basically don't care. You just want to push.
Yeah, right. Obviously, Tom can't know about that, and he actually wants to join. So yeah, let's.
Interesting.
I'm just gonna send him a Discord here. I can't, so I'm just gonna copy this one because YouTube said, no, we don't want you sending links. which is that one.
Might take a little while for him to be able to get in here, but
yeah, might take him a little while. I think Tom knows how the Discord thing works. I'm surprised it's not on the AOR Discord, by the way, which is free to everyone for discussions, obviously, if you want so. But yeah, I'm gonna hope he's gonna join very soon. As I say, Tom will join the interviews and we get more viewers, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't mind. It's gonna be interesting to see his point of view, because I would bet my money on that he didn't know that you, Julian, that you had a penalty, and that will really mix things up there. So we'll have to wait and see where he is. Still waiting for him. Might take a minute or so. Yeah, apart from that battle, what would you say was your favorite part of the race?
My favorite part of the race?
Yeah, from the commentator's perspective.
Apart from that battle, well, I really liked the fact that we had two or three very different strategies going on, and that was always very good fun to see. I really do like the two-step difference between the ultra soft and the soft tires and the sort of racing it brings. It was fascinating to see Julian try and get back up through the field, and it was also fascinating to see all the other ultra soft runners spinning out on their ultra soft tires when they didn't come into the pits. So very fun to see all that going down.
Yeah, that was Hayden, and who was the other one? Was that Ian?
Ian,
actually?
yeah. Ian span out on his ultra softs. And
Yeah.
Hayden Stas might have done as well.
Sorry?
Hayden's wheel broke.
Oh, his wheel broke?
He said his wheel broke, yeah.
Okay. Alright,
I
well, that
don't
would
think
make
so.
sense.
He spun like 5 times on one lap, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because what he did looked very similar to what a couple of other drivers did whenever they span out, and it seemed like as soon as you span out, you just couldn't stop spinning out. You couldn't really get back into the race. It happened to Kalon, it happened to Ian, happened to Postas as well. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so we finally have Tom 97HD in chat. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Well, what a race it was. Obviously we're going to start at the front of the race if we're going to do a full interview. Qualifying, there was quite a bit of strategy already going on there. You started in P11. Were you quite content to be the top driver with the free tire choice?
Yeah, because I've realised today, I've had it for a little while, but I've actually got accelerator pedal problems. So I'm losing performance quite badly. So I'm just glad I managed to do the race and actually finish one for a change, because I didn't do Australia, well, because of other issues, and I couldn't do Bahrain. So I'm just glad to have some points on the board. So yeah. I think I'm quite unlike when it comes to league racing. No one will ever know about my past, but I've always had internet problems or power cuts, wheel issues, anything, screen freezes. I've got a really bad track record, so I'm just happy I finished. I really am.
Yeah, obviously then starting from that P11, you obviously did choose to not run the Ultra Softs, which deemed to be the best option strategy-wise for the race. Everybody on the Ultra Soft really had a hard time. I think Julian actually was the only one who managed to finish in a somewhat decent position, starting on Ultra Softs and then doing the two-stop. Obviously talking about Julian, that was a mighty battle there at the end of the race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I personally loved it. I really liked it. You know, I had to make up for deficits, so I knew I was losing a little bit down the straights because my throttle kept cutting out, and also on power input. So I was really making my car as wide as I could in that race. But yeah, I loved it. I thought fair and square, a little bit of lag from what I could tell from mine compared to Julian. That was to be expected. Also, and I kind of forgot, well, not forgot, but I didn't realize how bad F1 is online in terms of you lose a lot of performance compared to offline. And you know, I've not really raced online for a few years, so online performance, even though it says you're running at 60 frames, it doesn't feel like it, and it still feels really weird to me. So I'm definitely not as competitive or as fast or maybe as clean as I am when I'm just racing offline.
Yeah, the interesting thing was after that incredible last lap battle you and Julian had, you were getting a little bit desperate coming into the last sector. We could definitely see that, and ran wide there in the last corner and got that penalty. Without the penalty, you would have been past Julian again. Obviously, I'm going to guess you didn't know that Julian had that 3-second penalty.
Correct. I am going to maybe appeal the penalty because I didn't gain anything. It wasn't an intentional. Oh, I've lost. I'm just going to go wide. I lost the back end, so yeah, I turned in, rears didn't stick, went wide. I lost time, so I didn't really gain anything. So I mean, I'll try and fight for my corner, see if I can get that one back. But yeah, a bit desperate sector 3. Slash, I just had no ERS or fuel left, literally nothing, because I spent it all going side by side through sector 2. So yeah, just last lap craziness, to be fair. But like I said, I might try and see if I can get that last warning back, because it wasn't really a corner cut or a track extend to the point where I gained time. I went right off the track. So yeah, I'll see. You never know, I might still get that 4th place back.
Yeah, it might be worth a shot if you have all the info you need for the inquiry. I hope you're up to date with the rules in that particular manner.
Yeah, I'll have to delve into them in detail and see, because obviously if I don't have the material, there's no point even me trying. So before doing this, I'm going to make sure I have a case.
Yeah, basically, I mean, you have the stream to see that you got that penalty on the last corner, to see how your drive was. I'm going to guess you have your own recording as well.
Yeah, of course, I've got my own recording. I've got, obviously, the first 2 warnings recorded as well, so
yeah.
I think I've got enough.
So I'm going to ask, did you screenshot your race director?
I don't screenshot, I did record it. The question is, which tab of the race director is what I'm worrying about.
The laps one. So your personal race director, which says all your laps and warnings.
Yeah, I'd have to check because I remember I remembered right at the end when the timer was running down, but I don't remember if I got it in time. It's very close. I know it's very close because
but
30-second timer right now.
Yeah, so it was worth a try, for sure. But
Love the battle. It's great. Great fun. I'm happy. You know, that's I race. All I do is race with AI. So to do it online for a change is yeah, it's good. I haven't done that in a long time. So I enjoyed that. And if Julian's still there, then shout out because that was good. Hopefully more of those to come.
yeah, so it was obviously it sounds like you two had fun in that battle. We had fun watching it, that is for sure. I think Aladar can agree on that one.
Absolutely, yeah, that was a fascinating final couple of laps.
And in general, the race was just really good to watch. Great fun. I think we have again a very competitive and very fun to watch split. So if you guys want to check in on the next stream, be sure to do so. We have 2 weeks coming up due to the real life Grand Prix coming getting into the way a little bit. So we will be back in 3 weeks' time. Is the 4th of November. It's going to be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the Baku City circuit, which it's going to be a very interesting race as well. A bit of a race of survival, maybe even, considering how quick the lap round there is and how close the barriers are to the track. As usual, I'm going to ask my question to the one who has won the race, which is Ramdrop. Although he can't hear me at the moment, so that's unfortunate, because usually I would like to ask how he sees his chances there. But yeah, if he's not with us anymore, that is unfortunate. So, as I've said, don't forget to watch the race next time around. That is the 4th November, the Baku race. And yeah, obviously I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Hype Energy, who sponsor our leagues, Elgato, who make the streams possible, as they are, and our other AOR sponsors, that are Thrustmasters and GT Omega Racing, for supporting us. It's very much appreciated. Big thank you to everybody who has been watching tonight with this very lengthy stream, as we're closing into to 10 p.m. now UK time. So yeah, I hope everybody had a lot of fun tonight, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.